Czechast, a podcast in English about Czech and Moravian society, history, culture and economy.
Hello, you are listening to Czechast, a podcast in English about all things Czech. I'm Vít Pohanka, and today I will take you to Zlín. It is a city unlike any other in the Czech Republic. No medieval churches or baroque palaces, just long rows of red brick, clean functionalist lines, and an airy, almost garden-like atmosphere. As curator Michal Heinrich from the Museum of Southeast Moravia told me,
Zlín is a very specific city in Czech Republic because it's not that old. It doesn't have some amazing historical centuries-old center, but it's a modern city with functionalist architecture. It's very a green city because Baťa know that you can't just work, but you also need to have a nice work environment. So the city has really the spirit of the Tomáš Baťa. It's really built based on ideas of genius who was really ahead of its time.
Baťa, of course, was the founder of a shoe factory that grew global. But, as you will hear, the Baťa spirit was never just really local. It was global from the very beginning. And as the shadow of war grew over Europe in the late 1930s, the company made a decision that would change its history and help turn a Moravian name into a worldwide trademark. Even today, and it is my own experience, when you meet people, let's say in Canada, some of them think Bata, as they would pronounce it, is an Indian or Asian brand. In reality, its roots are firmly here in southeastern Moravia, in Czechia, and the reason it became known everywhere goes back to one crucial moment.
Tomáš Baťa Jr. was sent to Canada to build backup for Zlín as a central of the Baťa global empire.
Global operations, yeah, something like that.
So he built in Batava in Canada factory and administrative center. If the Zlín was lost to the Germans, so the company could be run from there.
Mm-hmm. So in this episode of Czechast, we'll walk through the museum built inside a former Baťa factory hall, explore the story of a company that reshaped an entire city, and look at the shoes, films and extraordinary travels that made Zlín, I believe, one of the most unusual places in Czechia. Let's go inside the Baťa Principle exhibition.
Czechast, a podcast in English about all things Czech. Whether you're an English-speaking expat living in Czechia and Slovakia, or a descendant of the Czechs, Moravians and Slovaks who left for a better life in America, Australia, Britain or Canada so long ago that you don't speak the language of the old country, this podcast in English is for you.
My name is Silvia Ličiková and I work for the Museum of Southeast Moravia in Zlín, and I am at the position of marketing manager and a little bit responsible for PR of the museum at Czechia.
Right, so what have we got here?
Right now we are in the exhibition The Baťa Principle, which was opened in 2013 in one of the buildings that served for many decades as a production hall of a shoemaking factory, originally of the Baťa factory, later named Svit.
I suppose most people who will listen to this program will know about Tomáš Baťa and the Baťa family. Nevertheless, who was he and who were Baťa family and what did they mean for Zlín?
Every visitor in Zlín pretty soon will realize that you simply cannot visit Zlín without hearing Baťa here, Baťa there. Everything is named Baťa, something, memorial, factory, the main avenue.
I just realized that there is a University of Tomáš Baťa here as well.
As well. And Tomáš Baťa was born in Zlín in 1876. And he started with two of his siblings a small shoemaking business, let's say, workshop in 1894. And within 3 decades, he was able to turn a small provincial town into a super modern city, which was pretty often called America in Zlín or Czechoslovakia in Detroit.
That's true, because the city, up to this day, I would say, still has the feeling of an American city, right?
Well, since I live here all my life, I don't see anything different in Zlín, but many visitors are just amazed. Because usually you can see historical towns, Baroque here, a Renaissance there, and suddenly Zlín with squares, super modern buildings of unique style. It is a special place in the Czech Republic, and let's say it's a school book of architecture, of modern architecture for many architects.
Zlín, until Baťa started, or the Baťa factories started here, was a small place. It was a kind of township, I think we would call it, rather than a town. And I suppose that's the reason why he was able to develop it, because there's virtually no historical center or anything like that.
If you imagine Zlín, 1894, when the business was started, the whole city of Zlín had about 3,000 of inhabitants. It was hardly more than a village with one central square and a small chateau. And only 30 years later, there was a super modern city of 30,000 inhabitants. So really, within one lifetime, he changed everything.
I think boomtown would be the term in English. It grew rapidly, very rapidly, very
yes,
quickly.
Exactly.
Right. I remember being here actually in the 1970s when I was a small boy. And even then, under communism, when Zlín was officially called Gottwaldov, people still called it Zlín, most local people, I think. And it had this feeling that it was kind of different from the other socialist towns.
Well, it was different, of course, thanks to the huge factory that employed thousands of people, and thanks to such a factory, Zlín was kind of a rich city and was really something special. And geographically, it was in the center of Czechoslovakia, so it was, I think, in my opinion, a great advantage. Still, we felt that's so important because the factory in those communist years called Svit Gottwaldov was one of the world's largest producer of shoes. So you had something to be proud of.
So what do you show here, if you were to explain to listeners?
Here we have three, let's say, themes that are closely connected with Zlín, but are well known worldwide. Of course, the history of the Baťa company, 1894 till 1948, when it was nationalized. The second subject is Zlín movie studio, started by the Baťa company to produce commercials for the company, and later quite famous thanks to movies for kids and children. The names like Karel Zeman or Hermina Týrlová being well known among my generation. And the third important part is dedicated to legendary travelers and globetrotters, Mr. Hanzelka and Mr. Zikmund, and we offer many photographs, documents, newspapers, and many other stuff about their trips, let's say, around the world.
But I think first they traveled to Africa, do I remember correctly?
The first trip was through Africa and South America, and the second one through Asia and back through the Soviet Union, and that was the last adventure of those two gentlemen, because Leonid Brezhnev personally asked them to write a true report from the Soviet Union, what they did like and they didn't like, and they wrote the report, and that was the last thing they did.
That was because probably Leonid Ilyich Brezhnev didn't like it very much.
Yes, exactly.
They were definitely legendary travelers. Even when I was a boy, again back in the 70s and 80s, I mean, we were actually learning about them. That was kind of interesting because they were known people, but they were kind of half dissidents, I think I would call them.
They were not half dissidents. They were
real dissidents,
exemplary dissidents, because nobody was allowed to employ them. They spent decades without work. So only with some help of friends and with Mr. Hanzelka, who was even nominated for the president I think in 1968. Later was taking care of trees in the gardens of
So
Prague.
he was like a gardener, something like that.
Yes, gardener in Prague, and he was lucky to have a job.
But they went imprisoned. I mean, that's what I meant.
No, they weren't in prison.
But their life was really difficult.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
But they lived long enough to enjoy 1989.
The fall of communism and the new order,
exactly.
I mean, the democracy, return to democracy.
And opening of a new exhibition dedicated to their traveling and expeditions.
Excellent. I think we can now talk to your colleague, yeah?
Okay, so my name is Michal Heinrich. I am a curator of the shoe collection here in our Museum of Southeast Moravia, here in Zlín. So right now we are in permanent exhibition, Principle Baťa, the Baťa Principle in English. As my colleague previously said, there are three main parts of the permanent exhibition.
So can we see the exhibitions now, one after another?
Yes, exactly. Let's go to the shoe collection because that's my part. So of course it has to be first.
So what do we have here? Beautiful shoes.
Beautiful shoes. Well, shortly above the beginning of the collection, we are in Zlín, so everything is connected to Baťa, of course. So when the Baťa company started to grow, they sent their employees all over the world to send shoes, to buy materials, etc. And when these employees, travel abroad, they looked around themselves and look at the feet of the people in those places, what they are wearing, because the company needed to know what is the competition, and also if we can maybe took some inspiration for our own manufacturing. So they brought footwear from all around the world back to Zlín for this purpose. So that is the beginning of this collection. It wasn't planned, but it was naturally, it was a natural part of the Baťa company existence. In these showcases, we can see the footwear that the Baťa company produced. From the beginning there, those typical Wallachian type of footwear that the Baťa and Tomáš Baťa, together with his sister and brother, started to make in 1894. You can see it here. They are not that maybe interesting to look at, but this is where they started.
They were probably successful commercially, yeah, I suppose.
Well,
very successful.
Exactly the opposite. Because everyone was making them here, and they were also quite warm. So they were mainly for winter or autumn, spring. But summer they weren't that hot to sell. So they almost bankrupted.
I see.
But they managed to survive, and shortly after they started to make a different type of footwear that we can see here, that is made from leather and textile.
It's some sort of linen or something.
Yes, it's sagel. It's called sagel, so they were called saglovky because of the material. Or later baťovky, because it was famous from the Baťa company. The benefit of the textile material on the footwear was that it was much more cheaper than full leather shoes. So many more people could afford to buy these shoes. So it was commercially very successful, and this is the beginning of the growth of the Baťa company, these saglovky, baťovky. Here it's interesting that we can see that the sole of the footwear here and here as well is from wood, because
it used to be wooden.
It used to be wooden because we are at the First World War, and there was shortage of material because you need leather for the military footwear, and also the leather from abroad that was brought here to make shoes from.
It couldn't be imported.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably there were difficulties, so they started making wooden soles.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
I think we would call that. Actually, what we are looking at right now is a kind of sandal shoes.
Sandal, for
but
children.
with a wooden for children. But with a wooden sole.
Exactly.
But these are not wooden.
Yeah, here
these
we are
later in the 20s.
This is exactly the 20s. So we can see that Baťa now know how to make some more elegant and more attractive footwear for women, so high boots, for example, here, or children shoes here again. In the 20s, the growth of the Baťa company really started.
It started kind of growing exponentially, I think.
Exactly.
As far as production is concerned.
Yeah, there was the brilliant marketing move of the Tomáš Baťa at the beginning of the 1920s. After the war, there was a crisis because the Austria-Hungary was no more. There was independent Czechoslovakia, much less.
I think the market became much more fragmented.
Exactly.
And, you would have to export all of a sudden into a different country. What used to be one country without any customs and everything now became many countries.
Yeah, exactly. And after the war, people didn't have any money, and military production had to be switched to civilian, etc. So Baťa, as other footwear manufacturers, have full storages, and nobody was buying. So what to do? He slashed the prices by 50%, half. It was completely revolutionary. People started to buy massively Baťa shoes. So he got money to manufacture more, and also destroyed his competition because they didn't sell anything because everybody was buying Baťa. So it was brilliant but very risky move.
And it was, I think, in those times, for example, I studied at Palacký University in Olomouc, and there's a big Baťa shoe store in the main square, and that was probably when the Baťa shoe stores became kind of iconic in all the bigger cities of Czechoslovakia.
Yes, during the 20s, the number of the stores really grew.
If just a question of the top of my head, I mean, how did he manage to get the financing? Because, I mean, if he slashed prices, I suppose he needed some creditors as well.
Yeah, well, he already had credit, so in debt, but he also slashed the
production costs, maybe?
Yeah, the payment of workers by 40%, but he also compensated because during the First World War, Baťa bought many food production
workshops, smaller places.
Food production, farms, etc. for the company store where he sell it to his employees. So when he slashed the earnings of the workers, he also slashed the price in the company store where he sell food and other necessities. So the workers still had enough food and other necessities. So, yeah.
So they were able to survive comfortably, I suppose. But at the same time, he started, I think, introducing chain production and.
It was during the 20s also brilliant move by Tomáš Baťa in many fields. One was the motivation of workers, that if you work hard and make extra shoes that is expected, you get paid extra bonuses. And if you make many shoes with defects or not quality goods, you will pay for it. It will be deducted from your payment. So motivation was important. Also the organization of the company, it was very decentralized and very flexible. So that was also a great thing. And Tomáš Baťa, right at the beginning of the 20th century, realized that if he needs to survive and thrive in footwear industry, he has to introduce many more machines to the production. And in 1927, he had the brilliant idea from Henry Ford. He was making cars on conveyor belt. Why not make shoes the same way? So it was a brilliant idea. He was first in the world to make, to start producing shoes on conveyor belts, as we can see maybe in here.
Yeah, and you have these machines where obviously people were making making all the shoes. If we can, can we just have a look here? This big kind of billboard, I would say, with how many? 111 places, I think, with the date and the year when a shop was opened or production was opened.
Actually, sister companies in different countries around the world. In the 1920s, Baťa was mainly expanded around the world with his own stores. And from the 1930s, he started building factories in different countries around the world. Why? Because at the end of the 1920s, the great economic depression crisis, so many countries started to raise tariffs. So the export from Czechoslovakia became much more complicated. So why not build a factory in the different country and start making footwear right at the in the place, so he can still be competitive on foreign markets.
And just for the listeners, when I look at the list of all these places where he started making shoes, there are only 7 of them that were started between 1919 and 1929, and from the 1930s, it's really huge expansion.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously, each year he was opening factories all over the world, basically. But most of them still in Europe, we have to say.
A lot of in Europe. It's also it's companies, so not only factories, but also buying materials, etc.
You know, just an interesting point that I remember now, when I started working for UNESCO in Paris back in the 1990s, I went to buy shoes into Baťa. It was actually, let me start again. In the 1990s, when I worked in France, I got shoes from a Baťa shop. And I was speaking to my colleagues, and they thought that Baťa is an Indian name. They weren't even aware, of this connection, of this famous name connection with Czechoslovakia. And obviously, this is a good kind of illustration of why that was, because he opened over 111 factories, basically, right?
Yeah, we heard this a lot, also from India, that Baťa is their national footwear manufacturer. No, also from Africa, because today still Baťa has factories in Africa, and they think that Baťa is theirs. But no, it's from here, from Zlín, Czechoslovakia.
Right. I'm sorry, but let's get back to the shoes, because what I saw over there's some sports shoes, and I remember there's a very interesting story, which we in Czech called kecky. And why is that?
Baťa, the factory production of footwear enabled to make many different specialized type of footwear, not only one footwear for a whole year, but you can say for some special events, sports footwear for home. Baťa very
kind of domestic footwear.
Exactly, well. Propagated. At the beginning of 1920s, Baťa started to make shoes from rubber, or combination of textile and rubber, and they became very popular for sports and outdoor activities. So it was a hit here
it was
in
a hit,
Czechoslovakia.
but I think he got an idea, or I do not want to say that he stole the idea, but there was an American company called Cats that were making such shoes, and they started being called Ketsky in Czech. And they still are called Ketsky, actually.
Exactly. There were more American companies that made different types of rubber shoes, and Baťa took inspirations from them. Baťa didn't hesitate to take inspirations from different manufacturers or different industries, because why not?
Yeah, if it wasn't a patented something, so
exactly.
you could make
and
that.
When Baťa company was globally very important, there were many delegations that came to Zlín to look how it's made here at Baťa company, to inspire, and Baťa invited them freely. Look inside our workshops how we make shoes.
And Zlín, I think the English word for it would be a company town, sort of, because this was the dominant. This was the totally dominant industry, and most of the people who worked here worked for Baťa.
Definitely, Zlín was a small town before the Baťa started to grow his global empire here in Zlín.
So I don't want to cut you too short, but what happened when the Nazis came?
Yes.
That must have been quite a big shock for the company.
It was very difficult.
And Second World War,
even before 1939, the Baťa company, of course, realized that the atmosphere globally was very risky, and the war is coming. So, for example, before the Nazis came, Baťa started to send many machines with qualified workers abroad to build small factories everywhere. And among many of these workers were actually people with Jewish descent. So the Baťa company tried to save them by sending them abroad when it was still possible. Then, of course, Baťa, as one of the key industrial enterprises in Czechoslovakia that was destroyed.
Czechoslovakia fell apart already.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a Slovak state. There was Protectorat Böhmen und Mähren.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was the German administrators that was looking after the company that they are making what they are supposed to make, because they have to make footwear for the German military. The Baťa machine workshop or the division of the Baťa company that made machines and other machines had to also start manufacturing for different German military branches. So it was very hard for the company to balance not to collaborate with the Germans, but also to
survive, basically.
To survive and stay independent, because if they didn't make for the German military the shoes, they would just nationalize the company, took it over, and it would be the same end. And here we can actually see again footwear with wooden soles, because it's the Second World War. Again, shortage of material, and
shortage of rubber, of course. Yeah.
So we can see the same solution, but with much more better design, much more elegant, more colorful, etc.
So that's the World War II shoes production.
And if we are in the 1939, there was a World Exhibition in New York in 1939. Sadly, the Protectorate was established before that, so the Czech companies couldn't represent the nation in New York. But Baťa company manufactured a special collection for the World Exhibition. It sadly never traveled to New York, but it was created, and we can see the collection right here. Very elegant, very luxurious. So we can see that the Baťa wasn't only manufacturer that make millions and millions of shoes or cheap shoes for lower costs, but also very design, very elegant and very, attractive for the customers as well. So this is this collection, very extravagant, some of the pieces, as we can see.
Yeah. I will definitely take some pictures and put that on the website so that the listeners can actually see some of the shoes, which reminds me, I think about 15 years ago, I was in Toronto, Canada, and I went to the shoe museum, Baťa Shoe Museum. So if you were to explain, how did Baťa end up in Canada, the name and the company?
It's complicated, let's say. Well, after the death of Tomáš Baťa, the founder of the company,
he died in an air crash.
Crash in 1932. 32. It was unexpected,
obviously.
Airplane crash are. And he had a son, Tomáš Baťa Jr. And he also had a half brother, Jan Antonín Baťa. And after his death, they opened the safe and found out that the Tomáš Baťa wanted Jan Antonín Baťa to take over the company.
His half brother.
His half brother. It was complicated because it wasn't heritage as such. It was a sale. So to evade the tax on it, because it would be many millions, and nobody had the capital to pay the taxes for this inheritance. So Tomáš Baťa, visionary Tomáš Baťa, expected that there might be some problems with this, so he made a deed of sale to Jan Antonín Baťa beforehand. He didn't tell Jan Antonín Baťa about this, so it wasn't signed by him. So it was afterwards signed, so it became legal. But Jan Antonín Baťa took over the company with other key members of the company at the directorial levels that helped Tomáš Baťa run the company. They still stay there and help Jan Antonín Baťa to continue the company legacy and to grow further. Tomáš Baťa Jr. Still was part of the company. He was being sent on different posts within the company to learn to sales and manufacturing.
The trade,
exactly.
As we call it.
So it was like that, and then the Second World War came, or was on the horizon. So Tomáš Baťa Jr. was sent to Canada to build backup for Zlín as a central of the Baťa global empire.
Global operations, yeah, something like that.
So he built in Batava in Canada factory and administrative center. If the Zlín was lost to the Germans, so the company could be run from there.
And that's what happened.
And this what happened. Jan Antonín Baťa also left the protectorate.
Was he in South America?
Later. He first went to the United States, where he kind of get mixed up in the presidential election.
Really?
Yeah, he supported the adversary of him.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he supported. He bet on the wrong horse.
Exactly. So he became persona non grata, let's say, in the United States. So he moved to Brazil, to South America, to build the material base for the Baťa company, because the number of resources, be it leather or different rubber and different materials, was needed in huge quantities. So he started to build towns and factories, etc., in Brazil. It became complicated during the Second World War because the Baťa company, or the Antonín Baťa, got blacklisted by the Allies. The Germans were also very interested why the director is in South America, not in protectorate, etc. So he had to balance everything, which didn't really work in the end. Even though he supported the Czechoslovak exile government, mainly in secret, because he didn't want to openly say anti-German stuff, let's say.
Yeah, he still had the production here. Yeah.
Production here, his co-workers, everyone who was here, he didn't want to endanger them. But it didn't help towards the Allies, this. So he became more isolated over time, and Tomáš Baťa Jr. in Canada was getting more and more influence inside the company. And after the Second World War, the Baťa company inside the re-established Czechoslovakia and in the Eastern Bloc was nationalized. So Baťa lost everything, and in Americas and Africa, Asia, it was the part of the Baťa company that survived, that became still free. And it became complicated because the Tomáš Baťa Junior and Jan Antonín Baťa started to dispute who's actually the owner of the company. So
there was a lawsuit. Yeah?
Many lawsuits in each of the countries, and finally most of them was won by Tomáš Baťa Junior, and Jan Antonín Baťa resigned for good,
for
good, and he focused on
but
building.
But it took years. I mean, just for people.
Yeah, many years. Many years
of lawsuits within the family, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So there are two branches of the families: the Tomáš Baťa Junior and Jan Antonín Baťa.
But Tomáš Baťa Jr., I think, kind of survived to. I mean, the part of the company.
Yes.
That's the one that is dominant and surviving till today.
Yes, that's the part. Yeah, exactly.
I understand that correctly.
And
right?
in the Czechoslovakia, there was many political court cases against political opponents. Many of them were injustices. So. Even Jan Antonín Baťa was sentenced for collaboration, etc. But it wasn't.
But in absentia.
In absentia, it wasn't fair at all. And in 2007, he was rehabilitated in Czech Republic because it.
I think it needs to be said that the nationalization, and I think this concerned the Baťa works as well here in Czechoslovakia, actually happened right after the war. We just celebrated the 80th anniversary of the big nationalization under President Beneš.
Yes,
then.
Exactly.
And that was already when Baťa factories here in Zlín were nationalized probably as well.
Exactly.
Even before the communists came to power.
Yes, right in May 1945, there were national administrators put inside many of the key companies in the country, and in October it was nationalized.
Fully nationalized.
Fully nationalized. And after the communist putsch, let's say, many of the companies were renamed. And the same fate has the Baťa company, because we can't have in communist Czechoslovakia a reminder of this capitalist. So from the 1st of January 1949, it was renamed Svit. The Baťa became Svit here in Zlín.
And there's even a town called Svit in Slovakia.
Yes,
I think, and that was
before. That was even during Baťa, because Baťa started this factory here in Svit to slovenské viskozové továrně to make synthetic fibers here in the Svit city, and this is the part of the city.
That actually gave name to the communist company called Svit.
No. The communist company was the ideological name, Svit, the, let's say, dawn. So the better tomorrow, etc. It was.
Oh, I see.
Ideological name.
So that's where the name came from.
Yes.
Yeah, like
yes.
Svit or Svit.
Yes.
Right, and that's it.
You are listening to Czechast, the podcast in English about all things Czech. I'm Vít Pohanka, and today we're exploring Zlín, the city shaped by Tomáš Baťa, his ideas and his global vision. Now let's go back inside the museum and continue our walk through the Baťa Principle exhibition.
Now you are the curator of this part of the exhibition.
Okay.
What are you most proud of?
I hate this question because there are so many interesting things.
Okay,
I'll give something.
Show me three.
Okay, so we saw the Baťa part, which is very interesting from many aspects. So we can look maybe on the different part of the shoe exhibition, because as you can see there are 9 large showcases full of footwear. So we can maybe look here in Asia, more specifically in China.
Yeah, so there's footwear from all around the world,
yes,
basically.
Yeah. Yes, from every continent. Here we can see shoes for women, adult women, called Lotus footwear or Lotus shoes. These really small, like 8 centimeters,
really
10 centimeters. It's shoes for the deformed, intentionally deformed feet of women in China. So it's from the 19th century, very old, considering the delicate material, the textiles with very colorful and elegant embroidery that it survived till today. It's amazing. So it also shows us how we can do very drastic thing for fashion and for social status.
You
and
can
for
deform your
looks.
feet, yeah.
Exactly.
Because of that. That looks really very fascinating, interesting.
Yes.
And now?
Okay, so only 3 you said. Here is interesting this part of the showcases because these are not originals from here. They are replicas, but they are replicas from 1930s. Because the shoe designer Josef Labuť from the Baťa company was tasked to make a collection of historical footwear based on paintings and tags, etc. that survived. How the footwear was evolving from, let's say, Middle Ages till the beginning of the 20th century. And he made some of the examples he made based on Czech historical figures. So we can see riding shoes of Václav II. We can see the crown footwear of Charles IV, etc. Of course, yes, we don't have concrete. Originals didn't survive, so of course it's some kind of interpretation. It wouldn't be exactly how it was, but it's reimagined by this Baťa designer. So that's quite very interesting collection, and even though it's replicas, it's almost 100 years old nowadays.
Right. I was just going to ask you, where did you, for example, the footwear from China, are those originals or are they replicas? Those are originals.
Yes.
Yeah. And they survived from the original collection started under Baťa?
Yes, but the whole collection didn't survive. It was larger from the Baťa era, but during the socialist era it wasn't properly stored. There was an accident with steam pipe and hundreds of examples of footwear was destroyed.
Right.
Sorry.
So we are going now.
Okay, we are going to the last showcase that hosts some of the curiosities from the world of footwear. So, for example, here we can see a lady's pumps from a hamster. It's made from hamsters with eyes and little paws and everything. It was made by an unknown shoemaker from Prague at the beginning of the 20th century. It was part of his exam to become a master shoemaker, to have his own workshop, etc.
Right.
So he had to show that he has the skill. So he showed them.
Yeah, hamster shoe. And now there are some huge shoes.
Yes, there are examples how big the feet can become. For example, here it's made specifically for a man from Brno in 1960s. It's from the toe to the heel. It's 410 millimeters, so it was really huge. And for example, here the farmářky, called farmářky. Farmer's shoes, okay. It was made here in Zlín by firma Conti. They manufacture it for Timberland. And the signature there is signature of Shaquille O'Neal, the famous basketball player. Oh. So it was for him. And right next to the huge again footwear next to it, more colorful. Colorful is a different basketball player, Sizonenko. And these pumps are for an unknown woman, masseuse from Karlovy Vary, the spa town, that also had
she must have had a huge feet.
And next to it, the small one, it's not for children or a small boy, it's for an adult man in his wedding shoes. He was very small, so small feet. Small feet. And if we look inside, we can see on the insole a sign, big man, because the designers from the Swiss company were, well, they had a sense of humor, so yeah.
I call him a big man.
Big man.
Shoes there.
Yeah.
I know it's cruel probably, but let me ask you the last thing. I mean, what is this shoe about?
Yes, this shoe and these three next to it, they are from the Second World War, and it's they are example of the footwear that the Baťa company had to manufacture for the German army. So these are ski shoes for the military. These are for the mountain Jägers.
I wonder what the English Jägers. I mean, they were kind of elite groups, elite soldiers, like parachutists. Also, I mean, they were mountain. What would it be? Horští myslivci, že jo? Je to česky.
Well,
but
mountain special units.
Special units.
So we can see at the outsole heavy ironing, so it didn't slip on the rocks, and it lasts a long time in this condition because their equipment had to be perfect. And these are valenky, warm shoes towards the winter, and here, also for the winter, in white color. Into snow, so they can blend in.
There, just one last thing. I mean, we can see the ski shoes, kind of, under which were produced. I remember them as I was growing up as a kid under communism, under the trademark Botas, right?
Yes, exactly. Baťa company was making sport shoes as well. We can see some of the evolution of the sports footwear, including the ski shoes. And in the communist Czechoslovakia, there were much less footwear manufacturers because of the centralization of the economy.
Fewer manufacturers.
And a national company, Botana, from Skutec, was the prime manufacturer of sport footwear in Czechoslovakia. And that included ski shoes, and their sport footwear was trademarked as Botas.
Botas, yeah.
Bota, Skutec, Bota, sportovní.
Thank you. I hate to hasten you away from your favorite part of the exhibition, but let us not forget that there are three parts of the exhibition, and we've been talking for quite some time about this one.
Yes.
So let's go to the next one. By the way, I mean, it's called Baťa Principle. Why is it called? What is the meaning of the Baťa Principle?
Well, it's called Baťa Principle, fantasy today, reality tomorrow. Because Baťa wasn't very much for theorizing and should we do it this way, that way, and so many months passes. No. We have an idea, let's think about it and quickly realize it. Because if we just look how quickly the Zlín was built up, the factory buildings, the housing for the workers, the hospital, the cinema and everything, amazingly quickly. Because we need to be on the move. If we stop, other people will get in front of us. And so he was
a man of action.
Exactly.
Put it like that. And let me just mention, for the benefit of the listeners, if they happen to come to Zlín, everything is bilingual here. So all the exhibits are actually explained both in Czech and in English. Right?
Yes. So maybe we can go here in the film cabinet. It also is linked with the Baťa company, because Baťa realized that the marketing and selling is as much as important as the production. So
he started his own film studio to produce the advertisements, but also started producing films. Gradually.
Films for maybe educational film for the employees, how to sell shoes, how is everything manufactured, etc. So this was the beginning at the idea. So he built his own film studio because he didn't want to pay someone in Prague to do the work and to pay them extra.
And here in this exhibition we can see photographs and explanation, some of the big names of Czech and Slovak cinematography actually. Started their careers here, right?
Yes, exactly. Again, in Zlín, because it was a dynamic city. Baťa had a large number of young employees. He gave opportunities to the young people to show what they know, what they can do. So, many people started their career here, and after the nationalization of Baťa company, etc., the film studios took a different direction, but we can see that it was still very successful. We can see the famous names Hermína Týrlová, Karel Zeman, we can see the Ferda Mravenec or Krysáci and other different characters from
that were created here, that originated here, and if someone comes here, he or she can read the stories in English as well. Yeah, so it's very handy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now what's the last part?
Okay, so the last part is a traveling part.
Sorry.
Also with Zlín is linked to famous names, Hanzelka and Zikmund, Miroslav Zikmund, Jiří Hanzelka, famous travelers. After the Second World War, they were young, they were educated, full of life, and they wanted to see the world. So they convinced the Tatra company to send them...
Tatra car making factory?
Sorry, yes, to send them abroad to sell their products in foreign countries. So we can see the model of the Tatra. They started their journey in here, and they traveled around the world in, let's say, 2 stages. First stage was through Europe and Africa and South America. They weren't allowed to enter the United States because they were from a communist country, so they stopped. Yeah. They stopped in Central America, and later they traveled to Asia and the Soviet Union. So here we can see we can see only a small portion of photograph, because they took photograph of people, of nature, of cities, of everything.
And they were filming as well. There are quite famous films, documentary
exactly.
films.
And they documented everything. They talk with people, learn their customs and how their life is, etc. So it's a huge archive from their travels. They became very popular in Czechoslovakia, as you said, from radio. They also wrote many books about their travels, so they were celebrities in Czechoslovakia. After the 1968, they became politically
I was actually talking to your colleague. They became actually dissidents, we would say, probably. Yeah. But they weren't imprisoned, but they had problems getting work.
Yeah,
but they were still quite famous, That's what was kind of curious, because I remember as a boy, somewhere I must have seen their films. I knew about them.
Yeah, they were so popular, but the regime tried to, maybe
kind of suppress them.
So from libraries, their books were removed, etc. Because they didn't go ideologically with the Communist Party.
When I try to explain to people who didn't live through the era, there were books that were directly banned, and there were just other books that were not directly banned, but you couldn't get them. You couldn't get them in the libraries. You couldn't. They were not mentioned at schools, but they were not directly banned. And probably you would have a friend or a family, I don't know, some relative, in the family who would still have the book. So we were kind of borrowing them from friends, etc. And this was the case of, I think, the works of Zikmund and Hanzelka that's presented here.
And not only photographs, but many other items in the showcases that they brought
from their travels, from around the world.
We can see.
It's really amazing. Let me just...
And there are also other travelers, not only travelers, but they had also a different occupation, like Edvard English, the semi-famous composer who also traveled a lot, or Škulina, Šťastná, again, travelers that traveled several times to Africa before the Second World War and after. So it's not only Hanzelka and Zikmund, but many more.
Imagine that you are speaking to someone who's interested in other places than Prague in Czechia. Why should he or she come to Zlín and to your exposition here, to your exhibition here?
Zlín is a very specific city in Czech Republic because it's not that old. It doesn't have some amazing historical centuries-old center, but it's modern city with functionalist architecture, and it has a lot of the spirit of the Baťa company from the beginning of the 20th century, dynamism, energy, and let's not think why something can be done, but let's done it. And it's very a green city because Baťa know that you can't just work, but you also need to have a nice work environment. So the city has really the spirit of the Tomáš Baťa. It's really built based on ideas of genius who was really ahead of its time.
It's kind of entrepreneurship, I think,
Exactly.
would be the English words. That's the spirit of Zlín.
Yes.
And I think I can confirm, I don't know whether it is still supported by statistics, but I remember in the early 1990s, when people were starting the small businesses, I think Zlín became the place where there were so many new companies, so many new firms, and I suppose it still applies today to a certain sense, doesn't it?
And it's amazing because we are at the periphery of the country.
Yeah.
There is no huge transit hub or sea or a river, etc. But no, it was historically a very poor rural region, and Baťa managed to make it an industrial giant.
Industrial hub. And actually, I think he wrote a book, the Republic or the country for 40 million.
It was Jan Antonín Baťa.
Jan Antonín
Baťa with his vision how to build not only Zlín or Baťa company, but really the whole country, to build roads and rivers to connect
and he
them
envisioned,
together.
for example, motorways or
Exactly.
highways, as the Americans would put it.
Yes.
And Zlín, because at that time, during Czechoslovak time, it wasn't on the periphery, but it was in the center of the country. So Zlín would become the kind of center. Of the country for 40 million people.
Yes,
something
exactly.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah? Wasn't it? That was amazing.
And here in the Museum of Southeast Moravia, in our permanent exhibition, you can see everything that we just talked to, concise and with examples.
In one place, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. On one floor, I should say.
Yes.
As well. Are you from Zlín?
No, but I'm from a village not far away.
Right. And obviously you are staying here. I mean, you are not leaving.
No, I'm not leaving. I'm still.
You've been listening to Czechast, and today we were in Zlín, inside the Museum of Southeast Moravia, learning about the remarkable legacy of Tomáš Baťa. My thanks go to Michal Heinrich, curator of the shoe collection, and to his colleague Sylvie Lečíková, who helped guide us through this unique place. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, subscribe, or leave a rating on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps others discover the program. And while you are there, why not check our Prague of the Beaten Track, our sister podcast, where I take you to interesting but lesser-known corners of the Czech capital. I'm Vít Pohanka. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay curious, and, jak říkáme česky, naslyšenou.
Czechast, a podcast in English about all things Czech. Whether you're an English-speaking expat living in Czechia and Slovakia, or a descendant of the Czechs, Moravians and Slovaks who left for a better life in America, Australia, Britain or Canada so long ago that you don't speak the language of the old country, this podcast in English is for you.